Hi there YouTube friends, Auntie SEO. Welcome back to Auntie A's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be sharing two wonderful onion recipes with you. Some pickled red onions and some onion bacon jam. In the first part of the video, I'm going to show you lots of different ways to make pickled red onions. They're vibrant in colour, crunchy to eat, and they have a sweet, tangy flavour. And the best thing about this recipe, it's simple and fast to prepare. In the second part of the video, I'm going to show you how to make bacon onion jam. The combination of bacon and onion inside of a jam really does work well together. The only thing with this recipe, it takes a long time to prepare, but the wait is well worth it as you end up with a delicious mouth-watering condiment that goes with so many other dishes. So thanks for watching today. Let's get cooking. The first thing you're going to want to do is measure out equal parts vinegar to water. I like to use white vinegar for its strong taste and it gives the onions a rich colour, but you could also use red wine vinegar that will bring a deeper red colour and flavour, or apple cider vinegar which will bring more of a sweetness. A quick shout out to anyone who's new to the channel, and if you're interested in any of the recipes you can always find them in the description below each video. Next you want to add some salt and sugar. Now the sugar is an optional extra. If I use apple cider vinegar then I don't use sugar, but if I'm using white vinegar, a little sugar helps to take the edge off the sharpness of the vinegar. Next place your pan onto your stove and bring to the boil, allowing the salt and sugar to dissolve into the liquid. While this is heating up, you have time to cut into thin slices the star of the show, your red onion. This onion is large, so I know I will only need one to fill my jar, but if you're using smaller onions, then you might need two. You basically want to make sure that you pack your jar full of red onion. You can see here I take my time to cut up the onions so that they are even in size. You could also use a slicer if you have one. A quick tip, with larger onions I will cut them in half and then cut them up into slices. But if you have smaller onions for presentation purposes, I think it looks nicer having lots of thinly sliced onion rings in the jar. As you cut the onions, don't forget about the pan on the stove. As soon as it comes to a boil and your sugar and salt has dissolved, turn off the heat and just leave it on the side until you're ready for it. Today I'm using a leftover gherkin jar, so just use anything that you have available. And don't forget to sterilize your jar well with some boiling hot water before using it. You'll notice as I place the onion in the jar, I've carefully removed the center of the onion. There's no reason for this other than for presentation, as I think it looks nicer, and nothing goes to waste as I can use the leftovers later in the week. Once you've packed your jar full, like a tin of sardines or a crowded elevator, then cover with your hot pickling liquid, making sure that all your onions are completely submerged. If you want to add some extra seasoning, then feel free to add any variety of flavour combinations. You can make them spicy, peppery, garlicky, or even add a variety of different herbs. Just place them into the water at the beginning so that they can begin to release their flavours as the water comes to a boil. Once your pickled onions have cooled down, place them in your fridge overnight for the best flavour. Your pickled red onions will keep in your fridge for about 2 to 3 weeks, and they go so well with salad, breakfast eggs, burgers, Mexican tacos, pizza, sandwiches and wraps, just to give you a few ideas. Unlike the quick pickled red onion recipe, your onion bacon jam is going to take about an hour and a half to make, and you'll need to keep an eye on it while it is cooking. Into a pan, cut up about a pack and a half of bacon and cook on a low to medium heat, stirring occasionally until nice and brown. You don't need to add any oil, just let the bacon cook in its own fat. While the bacon finishes cooking, use the time to cut up 2 onions. This recipe is really simple, just use equal weight of bacon and onion. Once your bacon has some good colour, take it off the heat and place onto some kitchen towel to soak up the excess oil. Then place the onions into the remainder of the oil and cook slowly on a low to medium heat. I personally like to add a little bit of heat to my jam, and if you do too, then I recommend adding a sprinkling of smoked paprika, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, some thyme, and then season with some salt and pepper. Mix everything together, then allow to cook slowly until your onions are nice and translucent. After about 15 to 20 minutes, then you can start adding in some other ingredients. First of all, I'll add in some garlic and allow that to cook down. About 5 minutes later, then add some brown sugar and mix this in well. As the sugar begins to melt, it will begin to bubble up, so please be careful as this is hot sugar and it will give you a nasty burn if it touches your skin. At this stage we can add the remainder ingredients with first of all some apple cider vinegar, then some maple syrup, finished off with some water. Some people will use brewed coffee for a depth of flavour and it will give a darker colour to the onions, but I personally don't like drinking coffee, so I use water. But I'll put all of this information in the recipe in the description below so that you can choose what you would like to do. Add your bacon back into the pan at this time and then let it simmer and cook down and reduce for about 20 minutes. Every so often you'll need to stir your onion bacon jam. You'll know when it's ready because as you run your spoon through the middle of the jam, it will be nice and syrupy and it will slowly come back together. So take it off the heat and allow it to cool down a little in the pan. Now you could leave your onion bacon jam as it is and serve it chunky. It goes great on top of a burger like this. But today I want a smoother consistency as I'll be using this delicious condiment in my next video. So I pop it into the blender to pulse a few times. It does not take long, so it's all that's left to do is to check the texture and have a quick taste test to see if it needs any extra seasoning. It tastes incredible, but please don't take my word for it. Take this recipe, make it for yourself, family and friends, and then come back and leave a comment and let me know what you think of the taste. Into sterilized jars, place your onion bacon jam and let it cool down to room temperature before placing it into your fridge. It will keep for about 2 to 3 weeks, but I find it never lasts that long. There are endless possibilities that you could use this salty sweet condiment for, so have fun making and sharing this with family and friends. So sadly we've come to the end, but thanks for watching and I hope you've enjoyed these 2 simple onion recipes. I look forward to seeing you next week in part 2 where I will show you my favourite way to eat this onion bacon jam. God bless, chop bok ham na da.